It's Blissin' Up. I'm your host, Rachel Lang, intuitive astrologer. Get starstruck with inspiring guests and engaging conversations. Blissin' Up starts now. Aww. Hello and welcome. You are watching Blissin' Up. I'm your host, Rachel Lang, and I'm back in studio after an adventure in New Orleans. And I'm here with John Williams.
Hello, hello.
Hey, John.
Good to have you back.
It's good to have you too.
Yes, I want to hear all about this trip to New Orleans.
I know. Well, it was just purely magical, and I have just a real brief story to tell. Mm-hmm. So, we're in Scorpio season. The sun is still in Scorpio, and throughout this entire month, we've been talking about magic. We started this Scorpio season talking about the influence of Scorpio. Our show was called Power, Sex, and Magic. Mm-hmm. And that ushered in this whole time. And then we went into the magic of mediumship with our guest, Colby, Psychic Rebel. And we talked about the magic of the life in between lives and how we can explore some of those territories with our guest, Linda Gabriel. Mm-hmm. And last week, we focused on voodoo, which I learned is very different than voodoo.
Yes, me too.
And we had our guest Sally Ann Glassman, who is the owner of a voodoo shop in New Orleans, and I just want to give you a little snapshot of how spirit works. So, what happened was, I was trying for about a month to book an interview with a voodoo shop in New Orleans, and I was really focused on the French Quarter. I really wanted to get in there.
Yeah.
And I got no responses. People just blatantly rejected me. And I was like, what's going on here? I've never had this much trouble. Mm-hmm. And so finally I'm in New Orleans and I'm like, I've got to do something. I've got to figure something out for the show. And a friend of mine, Lisa Tahir, who was hosting me and who was a big fan and supporter of the show, she said, why don't we go to Marie Laveau's grave and broadcast from there? And I was like, that's brilliant. Let's do it. I'm sure there will be tons of energy there. It'll be really powerful. Mm-hmm. Well, we couldn't. So there's another. And so finally, I'm, this is the show's the next day. And I communicated with, I sent out vibes to Marie Laveau. And I said, what is it? Why are the doors closing? And she said, you're being protected. Mm. And this is what I heard. And then she said, voodoo is not about, it's not about the darkness that people project. Mm-hmm. She said, it's actually a solution to the oppression that slaves and minorities faced. Mm. And so then I started reading about it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so powerful.
Yeah.
And so when I had that realization, bam, the doors opened and I connected with this amazing spiritual healer, Sally Ann Glassman.
She was amazing.
Wasn't she amazing?
Yes, she really was. And talk about the light
that
came through.
Completely.
It completely shattered my vision of what I thought voodoo was all about.
And dispelled all those myths.
It really did.
So I actually got you something.
Oh, really?
I brought you something.
Oh.
So Lisa and I were saying when there's a thing where you knock, you write X's on Marie Laveau's grave and you turn around 3 times and you knock and you give a wish. Okay. And so I said, I want to wish for John.
Oh.
I want to wish that John welcomes love in his life in all ways. And that he opens up to finding his twin flame.
Oh, well, thank
that
you.
was what came to me. And then the oil that this is from Sally Ann Glassman's shop, Islands of Salvation Botanical and Magical Pharmacy. And I saw this and it says, open the road. And so I'm giving this to you with the intention that anything that stands in the path of love and joy and happiness and your own personal power, that just be cleared. So
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Wow.
Yeah. So a little bit of magic.
Yeah, no,
a little bit
great.
Of magic from New Orleans to you.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Cool.
So we are finishing out the Sun in Scorpio season and getting ready to usher in the Sun in Sagittarius. And so I'm really excited today because we have a very special guest.
We sure do.
Yes, we do. Char Margolis, who is the host of CharVision here on UBN Radio, and she is a internationally renowned psychic. Or actually intuitive medium, and she is so accurate and so powerful. She's changed so many lives, and has a real just a beautiful spirit, and she just radiates light. And so I'm so excited to welcome her today. And today our focus is going to be, she has the psychic school, and if you watch her show, you get some tips and you learn a little bit more about how to develop your own intuition and how important that is for this time that we're all in right now on this planet.
Now and forever.
Yes, exactly. You can hear. Are you showing?
Yeah,
it?
I am.
Okay, good. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Char.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
It's so good to have you. It's
Thank
so
you.
great.
Thank you. Okay, so what are you doing? You're telling us about Scorpio what?
Yes. So before we start into our interview, we are going to have our Starstruck segment. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Starstruck is that segment of our show where we talk about what's happening astrologically this week so that you can make the most of each day. And we have a really significant week this week because what's happening is we're entering another solar cycle. The sun is moving out of Scorpio, where we've had a month of 30 degrees of plunging the depths of our psyches, of uncovering our own personal truth, and of really experiencing magic. And when I talk about that, it's what Scorpio does, the sun in Scorpio does, is it helps us to clear out any kind of psychological debris, any kind of spiritual debris that's really standing in the way from us manifesting the things in our life that are going to bring us joy, bliss, happiness, and move us further into our spiritual path, onto our spiritual paths.
Open the road.
Exactly. So now that the sun moves in, so the sun's clearing out of that, moving out of Scorpio, and now it's moving into Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of spirituality, expansion. It's also the planet that deals with higher education, with learning, wisdom, knowledge, and knowledge beyond what we can see with our empirical senses. So what's going to be, this is going to be happening on November 22nd, on Sunday. And so for today and tomorrow, it would be really helpful to spend some time in quiet reflection about some of the gifts that the Scorpio season brought to you. Identify what truth you want to bring into this next cycle. Because Sagittarius deals with the truth. And it deals with the idea that truth isn't necessarily that our beliefs aren't necessarily true. Our beliefs are just thoughts that we think over and over and over again. And so we expand our beliefs and welcome, the encompassing of new ones. So spend some time identifying the gifts, especially for you fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo. This is going to be really important for you because fixed signs tend to like to hold tight to what they know to be true or what they believe. This is also a time to really clear out the closets, metaphorically and literally. If there are circumstances in your life that don't serve you, if you're involved in dramatic relationships or anything like that, this is a time to really set up some boundaries and say, I don't need this, I'm not available for this, it's time for something different. It's also a time to travel, to learn, to read, to take some classes or workshops, and expand your horizons in that way too. Our fire signs are going to get a real boost of energy this weekend as the sun moves into a fellow fire sign, and the moon's going to be in lively, sort of kinetic Aries. And so our Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries may feel a little bit unstoppable. So just keep that momentum alive and really use it to move some things forward in your life.
What about somebody with an Aries moon?
With an Aries moon, oh yes, if you have an Aries Aries moon,
Which I do.
which Char does.
And I'm a Leo.
I know. It's going to be like a powerful weekend for you.
It is?
Yes, totally.
I'm excited.
Totally. There's all kinds of energy. I mean, we're all going to be feeling it, but for you, this is going to aspect your personal planet. So you're going to feel it with a little bit of extra vigor.
I love that.
I know.
I'll embrace it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Our water signs,
Pisces.
John, Pisces.
Who else is a Pisces?
Who?
Sunny.
Oh my gosh!
There he is.
Wow,
March 3rd.
That's so cute.
He's a
no
baby
wonder
Pisces.
he's such a little healer.
Yes.
So sweet.
He's a mama's boy.
So sweet. Oh my God, that's so cute.
Anyway, so go on.
So
Sorry.
our water signs, you've had a whole month of everyone feeling the emotional intensity and feeling their soft, squishy, vulnerable side. And so for you, as the energy shifts and everybody kind of wants to take action, wants to move, you might be feeling like, hey, wait a second, what about me? And so use this momentum for yourself too. You can move things forward in your life. This is it's a time of dynamic energy. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Now, for you all, there's so much energy this week. And I think we've all felt a culmination. And, with a lot of these terrorist attacks that we've had and a lot of the global circumstances that we've experienced over the last couple of weeks, we've all been feeling this groundswell of energy. And it can be very difficult to sort of feel rooted, feel anchored, feel safe when there's so much chaos. And chaos really just meaning change. There's so much of that energy of change, and so much, there's just a lot of it's palpable that energy. And so for you, it's going to be really important to eat lots of root vegetables. So your sweet potatoes, your carrots, your parsnips, and to really, really meditate, do yoga, do any kind of embodied practice that you possibly can to really feel a sense of your connection to the earth and connection to other people. This energy is very frenetic, and so we all want to remember to our spiritual practices that help us ground. Then on Wednesday, we have a really powerful full moon. And the full moon, it's going to gently touch a very a kind of a challenging, difficult square between Saturn and Neptune. And Mercury joins up in that configuration too. So we have a lot of planetary players all getting together, kind of creating some tension in the heavens. And so this is going to feel for us a lot like a T-square, which brings up a lot of that. It might mirror some of the internal tension that you have going on in your life. Reality versus illusion. What is, again, we're dealing with matters of truth. There's so much Sagittarius. So what is true? You might discover things or have aha moments, and they might not necessarily feel comfortable because they signify the need to stir the pot a little bit and to communicate your truth and to create some change in your life. If you're born with the early degrees of Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius, this is especially going to touch you. And so there are times of real awakening. So this is one day before Thanksgiving, too, here in the U.S., which is a big holiday for all of our families get together. And, there's nothing like family to stir up the pot. So some of your ideals and some of your realities and your beliefs might clash with your really, conservatives or very liberal or, polarized family members. And so realize that often some of the most profound, cathartic changes and experiences in your life can come through the expansion of belief, through the gift of debate and the gift of conversation. It doesn't always feel comfortable, but it's a time to readjust your expectations, and it's a time to really practice compassion and realize that that every single conflict that happens in your life is a reflection of something that needs to be shifted and changed within yourself. So bring it all back home, pray, meditate, and really you're gonna want to also trust yourself. And trust that your gut, your intuition, which is what we're going to talk about today, your intuition is leading you in those new directions. The Sabian symbol for the moon is I love Sabian symbols. The 4 degrees Gemini, holly and mistletoe bring Christmas spirit to a home. And for Sagittarius, it's watched by happy parents. A child takes his first steps. So these symbols remind us that we're all connected to our families, our soul families, our birth families, the people in our lives, but that we also have this generous, loving, nurturing, spiritual family of people in this dimension, people who've crossed over, loved ones who want to support us, a divine presence that advocates for us, that wants to see us opening our gifts, all of them, both the ones that we receive under the tree at Christmas time or the holidays, but also the ones that are within us. And so this is a time of really feeling that sense of connection, and feeling that sense of support and love, unconditional love. And so that is a little snapshot of our week. And now we are going to welcome Char.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for all that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Gave me a lot to think about.
I know we're all digesting a moment.
Yeah.
So let me ease into our transition
okay.
a little bit by saying that, and we won't do a song. We'll just get right into it. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's
Is that
fine.
cool with you?
Oh, do
Okay,
I have
great.
to sing?
Can you sing?
I did a karaoke the other night, but
Did
no.
you really?
Yeah, but no, we're not doing that today.
Oh, that would be fun.
No, that's a whole other show. Go on. It's a past life thing.
I can see. Not karaoke though. I think
It's a
past life
past life thing.
on the stage. On the,
Yeah,
as
and
a
that
singer.
French thing you said about
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
that's a past life thing too.
Is it? I can
Yeah,
see
she said
that.
something about France and French things around me, and I
Yeah.
have that from a past life that I bring back to this life.
Really?
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is that every time I see your name, or I go to say your name, I always want to say it with a French accent. I always want to say Margolis,
Yeah.
Margolis.
Well, maybe I knew you in France in a past life.
that
And maybe
feels
that's
right.
why that happens.
Yes, I have the hardest time. I have to constantly adjust the way I think.
Because you're very psychic. You're very intuitive and psychic, besides being an amazing astrologer.
you.
You've got instincts that are really, really strong.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank
So let me just, for the people for those of us listening, those listeners of ours who aren't familiar with your work, you have been, you had gifts when you were just a small child, correct?
I did. I knew things as a little girl, and my mom would take me out to eat, and I go, "Mommy, that lady cheated us." And she'd go and she'd look at the bill, and the woman would overcharge us. So 2 weeks later, my dad took me grocery shopping, and I said, my mom always looked at the bill. She was the accountant in the family. I said, "Mommy, that lady cheated us." And she looked, and they overcharged us. So we always called the store the cheaters. But what was great about my family is that they never said, "Stop lying, stop making up stories, stop trying to get attention." They really listened to me. And I was very blessed, because in those days, and I was afraid to sleep alone at night because I saw spirits around me, and someone had to stand in the doorway till I fell asleep. I mean, nobody really knew about this stuff. They did, but they did, but they didn't. And so my goal always has been, since I started doing this in the 70s, is to infiltrate this work in the media. And I've done it very carefully. I've kind of done it under radar. I'd go on a local show, and then I'd come back in Detroit, and then maybe Cleveland, and then San Francisco and LA. And then really in LA is where I got started, where Regis Philbin said, we want you as a regular. So, which was great for me at that time in the 80s. So I've been climbing that mountain ever since.
And you also predicted Kelly Ripa's pregnancy, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I predicted Kelly
Before
Ripa's
she even
pregnancy.
told anybody.
Well,
Yeah.
what was interesting is that she was auditioning for the part to be Regis's sidekick. And I saw her grandma Esther, and Esther was holding a baby. And I said, "Well, are you pregnant?" And I said, "Well, I know you just had a baby." And she goes, and I said, "Oh, are you having a baby?" And Regis goes, "Kelly, are you not telling us anything?" And because she was auditioning for the part on Regis, she goes, "Oh my goodness, my bosses don't even know," because she was afraid that they wouldn't hire her to be Regis's sidekick. So It actually it went viral. That whole thing went viral when I predicted it. It was on Access Hollywood and the Access Hollywood moment, and it was really in a way a game changer for me in social media. Yeah, or not social media. What is it called when it's out there in
Mass
the
media?
public?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Sort of
anyway.
the door opened up and said,
Sure.
now it's time to be.
Right.
Yeah, but no, I always was
Yeah.
around, and I was always on, with Barbara Walters,
Oh, okay.
and a regular with Regis on the national show, and I mean, name it. I've been on most every show
Yeah.
there is, but that just helped people say, oh wow, there's a psychic that predicted something on the air.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of psychics are, are intuitives, have abilities and are gifted, but and I've done a lot of things where I've been very blessed to be able to help people because I love helping people, but to have it at that moment on the air where everyone could see it was really special. It was and the girl who booked me is still a dear friend of mine, and she intuitively knew I should be on that day.
Did she?
Yeah, she was part of the magic.
Oh wow. So how now when that happened, did you have a sense for yourself that this is a game-changing moment, or that this is a
You know what? I've worked so hard for so many years. I took it as a gift, and I was blessed that it happened.
yeah.
I just went, okay, this is meant to be, and thank you for this gift. Because, when you're trying to teach something that you can't see, feel, or touch, intuition, being psychic, or life after death, and telling people about spirits, you're selling spirituality. And how do you sell spirituality to people? Unless you read for them and say, oh, your grandfather's name was John and his spirit's with you and he lost a finger or something. So you're going to get calls now. Oh my God, my grandfather's name was John and he lost a finger. She was waiting for me. But that's what happens to me all the time. But it's really it's been a good journey and an exciting journey, and I'm not even done yet. I mean, I've got a long way to go, and I know this, but it's never easy. And the other thing that's bothering me is that there at this time, I mean, there's some great gifted people out there who are pure of heart and good psychics, but there are also exploitive people who all they care about is being famous, making money. They want to be another John Edward. They want to be another Char. They really don't understand what they're doing, and they may have an ability and be able to give you a name or a situation, but they don't really know where their information's coming from. And there's good as you went to Voodoo or whatever they called it.
Voodoo,
there's good
yeah.
Voodoo. Well, I thought it was Voodoo. What did you call it?
There's Voodoo
Voodoo. Okay.
and Voodoo.
Okay.
Apparently there are differences.
There's good and evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's definitely good and evil on the earth and in the spirit world. And I have worked very hard at when I read to make sure it's only from a pure energy and a wise guidance. And that's where people are being tricked.
Well, it's interesting because you have a psychic school.
I have a school for psychics, on my show CharVision.
And one of the first things that you start with is talking about protection, like seeing yourself as light.
Yeah, I tell people to light up, to imagine they're lit up like the sun, and to not let and to swirl it around, and anything negative, send it back to where it came from. But I also teach people to, whenever I do a reading, I always pray. Always. I always say a prayer protection. Every single reading I've done for over 40 years, every single person and I do a prayer together that actually was channeled through me, the prayer. So it seems to have worked and it's still working. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So when you are helping, because you do a lot of teaching and you do a lot of mentoring,
I love to teach,
and you're just a natural.
Thank you.
It's a real.
Well, I do have a
gift.
teaching degree.
Do you really?
Yeah, and in secondary education. Huh. we still to this day, my family still and I don't know how I got my college degree because I hardly studied, but I don't know. I was very blessed. And I taught horseback riding when I was 12 years old. I ran a summer camp, a horseback riding camp. I have always loved teaching and helping people and seeing people change and empower themselves. I love that. It's like the greatest gift I can get is when I see somebody else become more empowered.
And do you have, for your students now, do you have ways in which you help to empower them?
Yeah, you know what? If excuse me, if people go to char.net, char.net, or just call my office and talk to Nicole or somebody in the office. I'm doing cyber circles where I actually do readings for people online, but I also do teaching now. And in 1999, I did a pay-per-view special, and I said in the pay-per-view special, what I'm concerned about in the new millennium is terrorism in our country, and our governments better shape up the airports. Well, I knew that it was called Char, a Psychic for the New Millennium. Well, unfortunately, 9/11 happened. Lots of stories that I have about that I help clients be protected from that. But also, now it's happening more, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we're going to have terrorist attacks. We'll have them in Washington, New York, other places. I just feel it. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel it.
Yeah.
So, what better time than now to learn to prevent problems and attain goals by listening to your own intuition? And that's what I teach people, how to listen to that gut and that guidance, because we all have guardian angels. We all have spirit guides. We all have loved ones who wanted to protect us and take care of us. And it's a subtle thought that we get. And we all need to hone in on this and rein it in, because it can mean a matter of life and death. And this is the time to learn. And it's not that hard.
Absolutely. I read in an article I think it was yesterday, that there have been 289 terrorist attacks in 2015, this year alone.
I believe that.
So what?
Unfortunately.
I know. It's so tragic. And what kind of ways if someone is wanting to access their intuition or develop their intuition?
Okay, well, first of all, you have to know you're psychic. You can't just believe in it, because in belief there is doubt. You have to know you're psychic, and you have to own that power. And you have to trust your instincts. And the first thing I say to people, I know, here's Sonny.
Yes.
Sonny's helping.
He's got a lot to say today,
Sonny
too.
helps the first thing I say to people is, remember the time in your life where you wanted something. Maybe it was a romance, maybe it was a business deal, whatever it was, a friendship, and you get this gut feeling, don't do it. But you do it anyway, and you suffer the consequences. Remember that feeling. Or maybe you did listen, and you know that you prevented a problem from happening. Remember that feeling. Remember what happened, the thought that came in your head when that happened. And understand that it's not just your thinking. It's a thought given to you to help guide you, to help protect you, to help bring you peace. And so that's what I tell people, first of all, to remember that feeling. Then I tell what I suggest for everyone is to know that you're intuitive, as I said, and psychic. And there's two ways of being psychic. One is on demand, where like when I read or when you're reading for someone, you're feeling their energy and you're trusting the first thought that comes to you about them. But there's also psychic at random, where something says to you, you know what, why don't you call your mom? There must be a reason, or call your friend, or don't go down that street. And then you find out there was an accident on that street, or you find out, or your mom needed you, or your friend needed you right at that moment. So the universe guides us, and we live in a physical world and we live in an energetic world. And we all have a conversation going on in the energetic world, if you believe it or not. I mean, I'm not talking about, poor schizophrenic people who are homeless talking to themselves, but who knows who they're talking to.
Right.
Because who knows what energies, good or evil, are out there. But that's a whole other book. That's a whole other movie. But but for all of us listening and who are grounded and balanced, you want to understand when a message is given to you and then heed it and listen to it, because everybody is intuitive. Everybody is psychic. Everybody is. Not everybody is balanced enough or psychologically powerful enough to read for other people, or sensitive enough or kind enough. But everybody can help themselves and their loved ones.
Right.
And that's what I teach, and that's what I think is so important.
Right. Definitely.
So what else do I do? What else do I tell people? To understand that thoughts are powerful. Thoughts create reality. Thoughts are things.
Yes.
Thoughts have wings.
Definitely.
Thoughts, even with living people, you will think of someone and then they'll go, oh, I was just thinking of you. And you email or call or text. It was a lot easier being a psychic in the 80s when there wasn't Google and there wasn't email and there wasn't text messages and there wasn't IMB or whatever what is it?
IMDb.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't even know how to get there, but it's because now when you're intuitive and psychic, and if you're reading for someone famous, they'll go, oh, well, you read that, or somebody, that was, you Googled that or whatever. And you have to trust people. The most important thing I can tell you is if you're going to a psychic, and you're welcome to come to me, I still do readings and I love doing them, is to go to someone pure of heart and honest.
Right.
And a lot of people are not.
Yes.
But there are some that are.
Yeah.
Like Rachel. And yourself.
Like Rachel.
Like
and
you.
it's true.
Okay, yeah.
Rachel truly is.
Thank
like
you.
I totally would trust you to do my chart.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I did.
Okay.
I did your chart.
Okay, so is there good news and bad news, or just good news?
Well, I like to deliver good. I think it's all good news. It just all of it is good news. But I think the biggest thing that I see coming up for you. So you're not in a relationship right now, is that correct?
Just with Sonny.
Just with Sonny?
Just me and Sonny boy.
We're going to talk to Sonny here too, because he has a lot to his energy is like, I want to say something. I want to say.
Yeah.
He's a
I
healer
want to be
dog.
on stage.
He is a healer dog.
So the biggest thing that is getting ready to happen for you is there's a lot of change on the horizon for you in terms of relationships.
Really?
Yeah. Have you been?
That poor guy.
I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be poor.
Oh.
I think he's going to to be blessed
Richly
and
blessed.
rich. And actually, I could see this being someone who has some resources.
Really?
Yes.
What does resources mean?
Meaning financial resources.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's interesting because one of the influences in your chart that really stands out for me is that your north node, which is like the point that the point in your chart where you're moving toward in this lifetime.
Yeah.
And that point is in the 5th house, which deals with your creativity, self-expression. It's in Pisces, so it's your spiritual gifts, your psychic gifts, your intuitive gifts. But it's also the house of romance. And so often that probably has been neglected, an area that's been neglected for you, that's getting ready to kind of take center stage in your life.
Okay, I'm open to that.
Yeah.
I'm totally open. I've always dedicated, and I always will dedicate my life to the work that I do in teaching and healing. So they're going to have to understand that.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to like chihuahuas.
I think they will. But I think we're looking at the summer of the summer of 2016.
Really?
So
Whoa.
it's you have a little bit of time. There's still some career stuff that's happening for you. That's moving you forward, and kind of you're being propelled into that.
I am.
Into a new spotlight.
I am. I have a new spotlight.
Yeah. It's a TV show?
I'm not sure yet. I can't say yet what it is, but I am doing some things.
Yes. There's a lot that's. And
do you see a TV show?
I do. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I do. And I see.
Then you will have to be my guest.
I would love that. I
actually talked her into going on Entertainment Tonight with me.
Yes.
I said, come on. I said, you guys need this young lady. She's talented and she's beautiful and she's gifted. And so they interviewed her. I'm not sure where the interview went, but you never know when they're going to play it. But it was at the Republican convention when we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love bringing people with me. I love bringing talented people with me.
People you trust.
Yeah,
right?
So many people have big egos, and I've learned that ego means EGO, edging God out.
Oh, I love that. That's really good.
Yeah, it's important to bring gifted people along.
Now you're and it's I'm so grateful for it too because it was so much fun.
Yeah,
and then
of
we got to
course.
connect and we got to
Yeah.
hang out with Clay Aiken
I
for
love
a little
this kid.
while.
I love this kid.
I love her. So now Sonny keeps pulling
he
my
bothering
attention.
you?
No, he's so sweet. He's like, but ask her about me. So
What do you see?
have you been working with him pretty? I mean, he like came into your life to kind of help you work, correct?
He did. He's like my little protector and my energy protector and my little healer. And he kind of, we had an animal psychic on the show who's actually has a show here.
She does.
Oh, yeah.
Miriam Fresh.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Miriam Fresh.
Yeah, she just started a new show. It's
And she's
Psychic
lovely.
the Trainer.
She's lovely.
cool.
And it was one of my first interviews. I hope I was okay with her. But anyway, she said that he likes to gather the energy. He likes to
Like herd it.
herd the
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So have you always worked with an animal or had a little animal
I've
companion?
had animals in my life. I used to have a Labrador when I first started. I had 6 cats and then a Labrador and 2 horses. And then I ended up finding a dog on the streets of Hollywood that I saved. Well, I shouldn't say I stole her, but I kind of did. The girl left her on the streets all weekend long to fend for herself, and she was loaded with fleas, and she didn't take care of her. So I kind of borrowed her for the rest of the dog's
You rescued her.
You did.
I did rescue her.
Yes, you did.
And so then, it was so heartbreaking when she passed that it took me years till I got another dog. But my mother's spirit guided me to Sonny, and it's a great story that I can tell one day. But totally, with my mom's spirit guided me to exactly where he was.
Yeah.
It was crazy miracle.
And I think Sonny's teaching you how to receive a lot too.
You think so?
Yeah, I think like to be more open to
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Y-
You're
'cause-
probably right about that.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to tell other people about their lives than to
Sure.
tell you about yourself.
Yes.
It's true.
Yeah. Because you give all the time. So I think this is a chance to receive, and he is someone that you totally trust and get so much unconditional love from. So.
I do, and I'm so
Yeah.
blessed to have him in my life. But I do always work on myself. I do.
I
I've been
believe
into therapy, and
Yeah.
if I ever need a tune-up because I may not have an issue with someone, I'll go for a tune-up. But I mean, there was a time where I went to therapy because I really felt like I needed to always learn to stay grounded because you have to be grounded to do this work.
Exactly. And that's something I think that's so important is that that any psychic or any medium or any intuitive who's not doing his or her work,
Right.
it's
Or in denial, or egotistical,
Yeah.
or lying all the time, or hiding, or, I mean, I can't even go there.
right. So one thing that you talk about, and this is something that I think is so important as people are starting to open up and develop, is the relationship with fear, and
Right.
And how do you help people navigate that?
Well, fear is the opposite of love. So we call fear the 4-letter F word, false evidence appearing real. And a lot of people's fears are just manifestations in their mind of things that they're afraid will happen. And Mark Twain said something once. There's a quote, and I may be misquoting him a little bit, but he said, my biggest problem never happened.
I love that.
So people just sit and worry and worry and worry, and we're up at night, and they're worrying and worry, and then there's really no problem.
Right.
And if you are up at night and something tells you to do something, maybe it's a guidance so the thing doesn't happen. But a lot of people live in fear. And now, I mean, I know people who go on an airplane and are afraid the entire time they're on the airplane. And it's like, you have to have faith.
You're right.
It's so important to know you're guided and to have faith. My dad always said there's nothing more important in life than peace of mind. There's nothing more important.
And you can have that even if there are unpeaceful circumstances
Right.
happening in
You
your
can.
exterior world.
That's right. You can. And one way to do that is to meditate. And I actually brought you my CD. It's called Chakra Therapy with Char Margolis. And I want to give this to you because
great.
I hope you like it. I had music composed by an energy healer who's also a musician.
Oh, wow.
And each one of our chakras resonates with a musical note and a color.
Yes, definitely.
So it's kind of like meditation 101 because, it's not like I go to, Machu Picchu and meditate or anything. I've never been there. But I don't think you have to go anywhere to meditate. You just need to be balanced within yourself in your own home and in your own space. And I have to say, when I'm done listening to my CD, I feel like I just went to an energy healer.
Wow.
I feel like $1 million.
That's incredible. And people can buy this on your website too,
Yeah,
correct?
if they go to char.net and click store, and they can also get my poem.
Your poem?
Do you know about my poem?
I know about your books, but
yeah,
not
I
your
have
poem.
my books. I don't know if you want. I don't know if there's time.
Sure. Yes,
Yes, there
absolutely. There's
definitely is.
time.
This
yes.
is a beautiful
Yes,
poem
we
she
would
wrote.
love to hear a poem.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Rachel will love
I just
this.
so
I
happen
love
to have
poetry.
my poem with me. But this was channeled through me, and actually, it's a great gift that people
Let me-
can get if they
let
go
me
to
zoom
char.net. I don't know if you can see
Yeah.
it. It's a scroll, and they're handmade, and they're signed by me. And I love this poem because it was channeled through me. And it's a message from heaven. It really, truly is a message from heaven. It's called Until We Meet Again by Char Margolis, a message from heaven. My work is done. It's time to leave. Know that I also am missing you as you grieve. I completed my karma on the earth, and now it is time for my rebirth. I'm flying with eagles and dancing on stars. Please know that I haven't gone far. The love we have will carry us through until the day I am again with you. What an amazing journey this passing over can be. I am in good company. I know you hurt, but please trust me. Our journey together is for eternity. So until the day our souls reunite, stay peaceful and well and use your spirit's sight. I will bring you signs from up above, a butterfly, a bird, my sign of love. Don't worry about me. I'm in good hands. Stay strong, stay positive, and continue to pray. When it is your natural day to graduate from the earth, look for me in the bright white light. We have completed our purpose, and all will be right.
That's so beautiful.
It is.
Thank you. It really was channeled through
Yeah.
me.
And you do so much to help other people connect with their loved ones in spirit, and that's such a. I think that always offers people a sense of that deeper connection. You know,
A deep connection of solace. Because
right?
when we, when you talk to people who have had a near-death experience where they've been proclaimed dead on the operating table and their heart stops beating, and then the doctors get their heart back beating, and boom, their ethereal body bounces back into their spirit body, bounces back into their physical body. They will tell you things. And there's a story I heard of once of a woman who was proclaimed dead on the operating table. Her body floated up in the air, and on the light fixture were some tiny little serial numbers. And she went and looked at them, and she came back, got back in her body, and told them those exact serial numbers that were in the light fixture.
Wow,
That's pretty phenomenal. And then we'll see when people pass, have a near-death experience, their grandma or Jesus Christ or Buddha or Gandhi or Moses or whoever your person is that you connect with spiritually will be there and go, it's not your time yet.
right?
It might be your mom, it might be your dad, it might be your child. It's not your time yet, but I'm here, and I'm here waiting for you for when it is your time. But you still have work to do on the earth because life is our school, and we're here to learn lessons.
Definitely. You know, I had one of those. I had a life after death.
You did not.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what happened?
When I was 19, I crossed over to the other side, like had an asthma attack, crossed over to the other side. But what you're experiencing, or what you're explaining, it's like all love. It's all light. It's like it's such purity.
Because people don't want to come back here, right? You didn't want to come back.
I didn't. I cried. I wept. I wept.
Aww.
But also that message of you've got work to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Like and it was like, you know, you have a purpose.
Reminder.
There's a purpose, and that's that message. And you don't communicate in words up there.
No, you don't. It's all telepathic.
It's telepathic.
Yeah.
So the information gets transferred instantly.
Yeah.
Did that happen to
It
you,
happened
John?
to me as well.
John,
Wow.
get out of here.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
What
I was
happened?
in the dentist chair, so I was having a root canal, and what I feel happened was my heart stopped because they were giving me the nitrous oxide plus all the painkillers and all that. So what happened was I went out of my body because I've never done drugs, I've never done alcohol. I mean, I've drank a little bit, but I've never been drunk. You know what I mean? So
Right.
to have foreign kind of substance in my body like that alters your state of reality, I didn't believe for the longest time that it was a near-death experience. But I happened to be working with readers at the time and an astrologer, and they actually pulled up my chart and said you had an exit point in your chart, which I guess happens, right?
It
So
does.
that's where you can actually you can choose.
You do
to-
have an exit point?
Well, you can. So
Yeah.
there are different theories about this.
Yeah.
But there are significant there are transits and progressions that indicate not necessarily. I would never use the word exit point.
Yeah.
But I would say like a moment of rebirth or like
Wow.
an experience of like
Yeah.
a catharsis.
So
Yeah.
what happened?
So what happened to me, as far as I can remember, because it was such a happy but fast experience for me, was that I just left my body. I became what was known like a thought stream. I had no body. I was just energy, and it was almost like a sci-fi kind of experience. It was all more going on in my head or just telepathic, like Rachel was talking
Wow.
about. I heard a voice that was both male and female that spoke at the same time, but when I would ask a question, the answer would be already in my mind halfway
Yeah.
through the question. I felt so much love but I didn't really see anything except this big white room. It was nothing but white. And that's when I
Wow.
felt like I was formless, right? And I was hearing these chimes, like some weird kind of chime sounds. Or tones, I guess maybe they were tones, and I kept hearing the words of the Holy Spirit. I really did hear those
you heard
words.
the Holy
Wow.
Spirit.
I did.
Whoa.
I
That
did.
gave me chills.
That
Yeah.
gives me goosebumps
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I kept hearing the words "cling to the Holy Spirit" through this journey, you know, and then what was really weird was I was hearing a lot of laughter.
I'm getting chills on my legs right
Yeah,
now.
Wow.
I was hearing all this laughter, like this is like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I was freaking out. I'm telling you, like I was freaking out. I'm like, what is going on here? Like I couldn't believe it because it happened so quick. You know, I didn't think I was dying. I mean, but then
Wow.
you realize in that moment that this is either an out of a body. It was worse than I wouldn't say worse, but it was more intense than an out of body experience. You know what I mean? I've had that time where I've levitated before.
Oh, where you went on an astral flight.
Yeah, exactly.
I've gone on those.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
But this was something totally different than that, and I could hear the people like trying to talk to me, and I wasn't responding, and they were like whoa, 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 when they were talking, and I was up
Wait,
here.
wait. The
Yeah.
spirit people or the
no,
living people?
the living people that were
They were
working
trying to
on
say,
me.
oh,
That were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
to me because I never told them.
Uh-huh.
I never told them that all this happened because I thought again it was all in my head, and for the longest time, there's a part of me that
They
still
must have
like
been freaking out.
Yes, they must have.
Lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yep, totally.
No, because they didn't have anything tied to me or anything to monitor my heartbeat or anything. Like it was just a root canal.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they just thought maybe I was probably passed out and enjoying the experience because
Wow.
because I was freaking out before they put the gas on me and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
And so that
Wow.
was my experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is you do come back with this like you know that there's important work for you to do here.
Yeah.
But also, you know that you're connected
Yeah.
to what I call. I grew up Catholic, so I call it the communion of saints.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like your poem indicates that there's like they're not far from you.
Right.
They're like right.
Yeah.
They're right there with you.
Mm-hmm.
boy, you guys had hard lessons. You had to die to realize your purpose is here. Thank God I didn't have to go on that journey.
But I think sometimes
I hope I don't.
No,
I want to like poo-poo kind of horror that. That's like a Yiddish thing that people do to jinx, so you don't jinx it. I don't want to go. I don't want to have to experience that. Once I'm gone, I want to go. But I love the idea that it's all love.
It is.
Now, as we talk about this, there's one thing I want to tell people. Just because it's all love, it doesn't mean suicide is okay.
Exactly. No.
And I have, I've walked people off the ledge more than once in my world, and also failed at walking them off the ledge. But they've come back and said, "You were right.
Yeah.
I screwed up. I have to do it all over again." So please don't use that as an alternative.
Exactly.
Because eventually we're all going to end up there in that loving energy if you're pure of heart.
Yes.
Not everybody goes to that neighborhood.
Yeah, it was very sci-fi, and I felt like I was on the edge. If I would have stepped over the edge, I would have been. It felt like I was on the edge of the cliff, and if I would have stepped over, I would have.
And the other side is, I should really say this, is that I know a woman who had a near-death experience and saw demons and gargoyles and evil things, and she came back, but she wasn't a pure energy. She used to be, and then she stopped, and then hopefully she did before she passed away again. For real.
Kind of reminds me of that movie, What Dreams May Come, sort of like what you envision is what you receive on the other end.
What's that movie you had me watch?
Oh, Astral City. Did you watch it?
I did.
Oh, good.
That was scary. I'm haunted by that movie.
It was scary in the beginning.
But does everybody go low and then high in that movie?
No. Just he did, because remember, this was sort of like not to ruin the movie, but it was more like a suicide, a spiritual suicide, because he wasn't taking care of himself, and he wasn't happy with his life.
Okay, you guys. As much as I love this discussion, I'm aware of the fact that we have somebody else coming into the studio, and so
we gotta go.
and so I've got to wrap it up. And I'm sorry, our time is. I think this is a to be continued. Actually,
we'll do part two.
I think this should be a part two.
I'd
we
love to come
love
back.
having you here.
I'm grateful because I don't get to really talk like this on my
know,
show because I'm interviewing other people. So I'd love to come back.
So that would be.
Thank you.
It would be our honor. We would have so much fun.
Thank you. I'm doing some special readings between Thanksgiving and Christmas if people want to call my office.
Great. And
special deals.
Go to char.net. You can buy her books. You can get this incredible healing CD, and you can book a reading
and my poem
and get a poem. Get a poem.
Yeah, a poem's a good present, I think, for people who just lost somebody.
Definitely. So thank you so much,
and thank you for the reading.
Yes, definitely.
I love it.
Definitely.
Oh, that poor man, whoever he is.
I think he's lucky. Very blessed. So have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week. It'll be a special Thanksgiving, giving gratitude, the importance of gratitude, Sagittarius generosity episode. So tune in next week, and thank you to John. Thank you, everyone, all of our creative team.